My name is Katie Strickland, and I teach 5th grade across the hall from Lane Moore. And I'm basically just going to walk through some components of our classroom and some things that we do. This is our math wall, and we have any anchor charts that we put up about math. They go here. Any words that we're adding to our charts also go here. And below is where the kids put their book bags and their book bins. And each book bin has their books that they're reading, their Just Right books, and it also has their composition notebook with their reading notebook inside. And basically this is the notebook that we use during workshop, and they have tabs on them. And the first tab is just daily, weekly forms, and this is any forms that they might need. This was also the form that Miss Moore uses in her classroom and the one that she uploaded in resources. And they give themselves a grade, just like the one she was talking about in her video. So that's all under the weekly forms, and they fill that out every day. And then the next section is the My Thinking. And currently right now we've been working on questioning. So we've been working on I wonders, questions, and wows. And they've been writing their wonderings, their questions, and things that just made them go, wow. And they've been doing that every day in workshop. And then lots of times we'll come down to the carpet and we'll share the things that they're wondering. We've also been working on thick and thin questions. That comes from Strategies at Work from Stephanie Harvey and Ann Goodvis. The next component in their notebook is reading workshop notes. Anything that we do that we think is important that we might want to refer back to, we put in here. The 5-finger test, partner discussions and ways to have a good discussion. How do I know when I'm stuck? These are things that when we get stuck as a reader, how do we know what's going on? Basically, that just things that talk about our metacognition. Then parts of a story, we've been working on narrative elements. And this is also something that they use when they know to, oh, hey, I need to have a good book talk. They need to remember that they need to include the narrative elements in their story. The next tab is conference notes. Anything that we go over that I need to make notes of in their notebook that says, you know, hey, you could work on this, or this will help you become a better reader, we put there. And then we have any extras. And right now, currently it's the beginning of school year, so we haven't had a lot of room for the extras. And so that's something that they use every day in workshop. If you go around here, this is where our guided reading happens. My ESOL teacher comes in every day and pulls a leveled group. And then I used to pull leveled groups, but now I'm doing more the cafe style like the sisters do. And I'm doing more skill-based groups. So if there's skills that my students are struggling with, or like today I had a group that was struggling with cause and effect. So I pulled a group back, and that's all we did was cause and effect. And then I had another group come back, and we just worked on retelling, because that was something they're struggling with, retelling in writing and in oral form. So that's just something that we focus on. So I pull groups basically based on needs-based groups. And that happens here. Anything that I need in small groups, pencils, I have a section of whiteboards. In Debbie Diller's book that she talks about small groups, just how she organizes that, I pretty much stole from her. If I'm doing a guided reading book, I put them here. Wiki sticks, anything that I think, sight word cards, anything I think that my students might need or I might need to help benefit them in small groups. On our cabinets, we have the theme charts that, yes, came from Beth Newingham's website. My books are a little different than Lane's. I kind of shrink them down to size. But these are all the books that we've shared together that we could see that there was a common theme in them. Later on in the year, I'm going to have them, when they realize, oh, this is a theme, I'm going to have them, bring their book, and I'll copy it and we'll put them up and share that with the class. That will be something that we do when we study themes. This back section is all our reading workshop posters. We have rules for reading workshop, what readers do, and these are charts that are going to grow. What readers do, we're constantly adding to this. We've been studying questioning, so we have questioning. We've been talking about thick and thin, and we read The Sweetest Fig by Chris Van Allsburg, and we talked about thick questions and thin questions, and how thick questions have whys and I wonders and hows, and thin questions have questions that are probably going to be answered in the text. And then we've talked about 2 strategies this year. I always put up my strategy posters when we teach the skill. So I have my connection poster up, and my questioning will go up shortly. And these are all the charts that we did for connections and questionings. And then back here it says reading takes us places. My kids have actually gotten really into this. If you can see all the thumbtacks that there are all over the map, these are basically just where we've been in our books. This is Dolphin Diaries. Amir read that today and put that up. Nancy Drew, we found that a lot of Nancy Drew books are actually set in London. Any book that we share together as a class, we chart and put them up here and tack. And then sometimes in the morning times when they're getting ready or eating breakfast, they'll come up and put a thumbtack in a place that we've been. And so that's been really neat because they can actually see where their setting is taking place. This is our library. We have books from character books. I do a lot of genre baskets, and then I do books for the same character, student book picks, and all these labels can come from Beth Newingham's website. And then I've made a few other ones. But she has lots of good labels, like favorite books by Eve Bunning. And then all my red baskets are my nonfiction baskets, birds and reptiles and world history and math. So I have separated by red with informational and blue and nonfiction. I mean blue narratives and fiction. And then up here is all my writing wall. As you see, I have a lot of anchor charts, so I'm having to go on top of each other. But we've been studying different crafts that help us with narrative writing, and we have sensory details over here. And sometimes my kids will come up and they'll move posters to try to see something. If they wanted to see an example of a good telling lead or a setting lead or a dialogue lead, they can come up here. We've been talking about dialogue, so we charted that in small moments. We've also been talking about the rule of 3. There's a great video on choice literacy by Amy Buckner that does a really good job with the rule of 3. And what do writers do? And we charted some different words that we could use for said. And then anytime we have really good sensory details, we've just been charting them here. These are books that usually I use for mini lessons. Lots of times my kids go and use these if we're working on a specific writing craft, or they need to see something in reading. They'll come and pick up one of these books occasionally in writing and say, oh, I want to just look at a few leads. Sometimes I'll have them come up here and say, oh, I'm a little stuck as a writer today. Okay, well, just maybe go pick up a picture book and get some ideas. And so that sometimes helps with writer's block. Above we have lots of our grammar studies that we've done. We've done types of sentences and types of punctuation, and our kids really got into a woobus. If you were to come into my classroom and ask my kids what an woobus was, they're probably going to go, woobus, because that's something that Jeff Anderson has taught his middle schoolers, and it's a really good thing when teaching compound sentences, just ways to know when you're comma. And then on the top is our number line, and we've been doing percents, decimals, and fractions. This is also the City of Ember wall that we are starting. We started reading the City of Ember yesterday, and we're putting all our think notes and anything that we have, that our discussion that comes up with the City of Ember. If they have questions, or we're just going to fill this with sticky notes and thinking charts and maps just for this wall and part of the window. This is where a lot of discussion happens. Lots of times we have turn and talking. Lots of book talks happen here. Just lots of enriched conversations happen on the carpet. And this is also where lots of times you'll find kids reading and writing in the classroom. We constantly use the easel today. We talked about events and what is the most important event in the story and why it's the most important event. And they did some sticky notes with what they thought was a most important event. And you come on around here. This is my awesome vocabulary. Lane and I both do this. And this is just the same words that she uses. In our awesome vocabulary, it's like this. And we just cut the composition notebooks in half, and we put the words here, and then they write the sentence on the back. This actually came from Cheryl Cole. She's a teacher in Gwinnett, like Lane said.
And where can you go to get these cut?
Home Depot, or you got yours at Kinko's, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just basically where they keep their words, and we have a 5-minute vocabulary lesson in there each day where we do some type of skill, 5 or 10 minutes. And then mountain language is something I only do on Fridays, but it's just a way to constantly be going over different skills that we have to teach in the 5th grade. And so this is something that we do together on Fridays.